Hey, welcome to Stunner Stage. My name's Stunner. This is my stage. When I started this whole concept of a podcast, it was about me wanting to learn about other musicians and learn what got them into music, how they started in music, what made them want to be musicians. Another thing that I wanted to do was have people that were in bands together or very close to each other interview each other and dig even deeper into that knowledge of each other's story. Tonight's kind of crazy because I get to merge both of those things. I'm going to talk to really my best friend since I was 13 years old. We've been in many bands together and we've grown as musicians together. But there was life before 13 for him and music before 13. So I wanted to learn even more. And tonight I'll get to interview my best friend. So without further ado, please welcome Mr. Walter Borgan to Stunner Stage. Stunner Stage, sitting here with Walter Borgan. I've known him forever, but we're going to get to know him a little more today. Wally, welcome to Stunner Stage. So, what I ask everybody, and it's usually how I start, music. How old were you when you first started really getting into music, and how did that happen, and what was it? What started you down a musical path?
I remember hearing music for the first time when I was 6. My mom cranking some Eagles
Okay.
and Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Okay. Was she solid Southern rock through and through?
She just loved the damn Eagles. That's all it was Eagles, Creedence.
Did she like
Never
Linda
country.
Ronstadt?
Nope.
Linda Ronstadt?
No female artist. She didn't want nothing to do with any of that.
Okay. I say that because the Eagles, Don Henley, Glenn Fry were in Linda Ronstadt prior. So
she had the Woodstock live record. So she played a lot of that stuff all the time.
What was her favorite bands off that?
She liked the song by Bread. Freedom, that one.
Dude, I love Bread.
Dude, so it's,
My mom was big into Bread too, but she liked the ballads by them.
Yeah, so is that 3, though I think that's the only 3 albums she ever gave a crap about, so it's like, kind of like me. I have like 2 or 3 favorite things I like to listen to, but yeah, there was that, but then my older brothers, Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, ZZ Top, Lynyrd Skynyrd.
So do you think they even got that maybe from your mom? Maybe Bread, maybe Freedom, that song, and they took the rebellious side of that, and probably the heavier Eagles songs.
My grandpa's country, hardcore country.
Okay.
I remember riding with my grandpa up north, listening to Elvira, some
Oak Ridge Boys.
Oak Ridge Boys, and that shit. So
I was forced to listen to Elvira.
They did not get that from them. So
I was forced to listen to Ronnie Millsap.
They probably got the live Jimi Hendrix stuff on her Woodstock album. It's like, okay.
There we go. That's
so that was, Foghat.
So from 6, you started listening to music. When did it become really compulsive? Because you didn't turn into a guitar player just as an average music fan. It became compulsory at some point.
I never really just started cranking out listening to tunes. I just didn't. Until I started playing guitar, then I started listening to, or wanting to listen to music more.
Okay.
Man, it was video games, man. Our Atari 2600.
Well, then what caused you to play a guitar? Where did that spark even happen then?
Well, I mean, when you hear, Jimmy Page and Iommi playing these evil riffs, and I think even Van Halen was out in 78-ish, 9-ish. It's how do you do that? I needed something to do.
Okay.
Let's play some guitar. But, I didn't really get into playing guitar until I saw Andy Mudick play drums. So then it was like, Well, he's just a drummer. I mean, somebody's got to play a guitar.
Okay.
You know, so.
So Andy Mudick, good friend of your brother Jeff.
Yep.
I believe they worked together back then, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's how you met Andy, drummer. You're what, 11, 12?
Something like that. Probably 11.
Okay.
10 or 11 for sure.
And Jeff wasn't playing at that time either.
No, he brought me over to his buddy Andy's house, and you could hear Andy drumming as you're walking in, and it's like, I don't even know if I had ever seen someone play drums live until then. So I'm watching him play these beats, you know, and just playing some basic beats, you know. I thought that was cool, but I'm like, that's weird to see just a drummer play and no
But
band.
even prior to that, I mean, had you seen movies, concert footage? Because we're 70s kids, so there wasn't even, it was all records. I never saw a person playing an instrument like that until, I don't know, maybe 10 or 11.
My mom had the Waltons on.
Okay.
Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Okay. No hee-haw?
Any hee-haw, which, you know, it wasn't, when you're 7, you're not thinking about how badass Roy Clark is on his fret hand.
But now you are.
You're like, listen to this hillbilly shit, right? But now Roy's God.
Yeah, Roy Clark was amazing.
So now hee-haw means that, like, if I get in a time machine, go back and tell my mom, that dude, I'd do it. But she was watching that, and any other TVs in the house were hogged by my brother Mike. Twins games, North Star games. If you change the channel, you're going to get punched in the face. So I got no exposure to any of that. My mom didn't take me to no concerts. Yeah. There's nobody take. My brother Jeff took, the first concert I ever went to, ever, was Dio, Holy Diver Tour with Twisted Sister opening. It's Jeff's fault why this all happened.
Thanks, Jeff. You're the man.
Yep. Well, his buddy, Andy, drummer, needs a guitar player. His other buddy, God, I can't remember his name right now. It's freaking me out. Big Earn was his name.
Big Earn.
Was selling this piece of garbage global guitar, Sunburst global guitar, and you know he wanted $75 for it. And I was dishwashing at Awada's, as you have.
Yep.
And I worked long enough to get some money to give him down on the guitar.
So we must have been 14 then. Because you can't.
I started when I was 12. I was working at Awada's. Hell yes.
Illegal.
They didn't give a shit, man. They need somebody scrubbing them damn Augie pans. So I gave Big Earn some of the money on the guitar.
Yeah.
And then I told him I'd pay him the rest back. And then I was a little punk weasel like we all are back in the day. You know, I needed money to buy strings and picks and Burger King or whatever the hell.
Right.
And back then they couldn't just text you, hey man, where's my money? It's like, he's calling Jeff, who's calling my mom's house. Ern wants the rest of his money. Oh, fuck. I ain't got his money. And finally, I was somewhere, or I was going somewhere, and Big Ern was going to be there. Like, shit, I have to give him the rest of the money for this guitar. So I did pay him eventually.
I was just going to ask, did Big Ern ever get his money?
I am confessing that I was I had poor credit amongst my brother's friends.
You were showing true East Side pride. Because we were all struggling, poor people.
Man, I could have paid him, but I was breaking so many strings. I was playing so much. You don't make NYXLs back in the day. These things are snapping. I'm putting on strings in the morning on a Saturday. They start breaking 6 o'clock in the evening.
Were you playing 9s and 8s then?
I was playing 9s. For a while, I switched to 8s.
I was going to say, you probably could have moved up to 12s.
Yeah, but I was snapping them, man. I was buying whatever strings were on sale. Sometimes they were brass. I didn't care what color they were, But, shit, I finally paid him off on that piece. That guitar's so junk. $75. I got ripped off, man. I shouldn't have paid it off.
You know what's funny is, like, you talk about that, like, you bought it secondhand from a guy. Most people in our age group got it from an aunt or mom or dad straight out of the Sears catalog.
Rich folk.
Rich folk. I worked
Dude.
my ass off for my harmony guitar.
Yeah, those guys are getting fed like meals. We're like eating Gateway macaroni. Not even the Kraft shit. We're eating the
The
Gateway.
yellow and black.
Like the powder in Kraft is like an orange. Like you can almost taste the cheese looking at it.
Yeah.
The stuff me and you were eating, that shit was white.
Yeah. It was white and black. It was so generic. It was just white and black. There was no art on the box or anything. It just said macaroni and cheese in black on a white box.
So Kraft was like going to Fogo de Chão from that, So we were poor.
Fun. Yeah.
Our moms and dads didn't have guitars laying around to pass down. We had to go to work at age 12 to buy this shit.
True that. I worked my ass off for a whole summer, and my aunt bought me. And the only reason she was able to do that was they were in construction. So she got a couple of dollars.
Rich folk.
Yeah, they were rich folk. Living in Cottage Grove.
Unbelievable.
Ooh, rich folk.
Yeah.
So, Dio, your first concert. What was your first local band that kind of captivated you, or even like your first band in general? Because I mean, you're a guitar player, you're a young kid. Your first concert is Dio and Twisted Sister. You're jamming with Andy Munich, and that band was Aftershock. Somehow you convinced your brother to play bass.
A band.
Well, you had a cool logo.
It was mostly me and Andy, and we had like what I would consider one gig.
Okay.
We went to Cherokee Park. If Andy ever sees this shit, he's gonna crack up because I know he remembers. We brought our stuff to Cherokee Park. They had an outlet. I had my Gorilla amplifier, right? Badass. All the way up to keep up with the drums. And me and him are like playing Scorpions tunes in Cherokee Park in the middle of the day, disturbing the peace, right? A cop drives up on the grass over to the pavilion where we're playing, gets out of his car, and he says, "What do you guys think you're doing?" And Andy goes, "We're just going to play one more song and wrap it up." He goes, "You guys want to go to jail?" And Andy's like, "On second thought, yeah, I think we've had enough for the day." We're going to play one more song.
One more. So that was your gig. Was there anybody there?
Just me and Andy and the cops.
No, they didn't even bring any bystanders
It
in?
didn't last long. I swear we were 20 minutes in, and some old asshole in the neighborhood was like, "Hell no, I got work in the morning. I just got home from work or something."
Well,
it wouldn't even let us have our fun.
That neighborhood was kind of like a little more uppity than the regular West Side was. That's a little more. It's kind of, you're right by Mendota there.
Yeah.
So it's a little more uppity.
If we were playing some yacht rock, maybe the cops wouldn't have got called on us. But
Yacht Rock, May 3rd. I'm going.
What do you mean?
That.
What do you mean?
There's a band called Yachtly Crew playing.
I saw that
at the Mirage on May 3rd. Me and the wife are going. They're amazing.
The Mirage.
They're so good. Mirage, not Maplewood's version of the Mirage.
Way back in time.
Maplewood's version of the Mirage.
That's badass.
Myth. We're going there.
Is that a Thursday?
2 weeks.
Is that a Thursday?
Saturday night. Come on out. Buy your tickets.
I think Rita would like to go to that. What's the price on that?
Like $100.
I guess we're not going.
Well, I mean, you can stand on the concrete for like 55 or 60.
I did get some new on-air shoes. So.
We're old. We're sitting down.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's a bit much.
But they are amazing. Check them out.
Yachtly Crew.
Yachtly Crew.
Best name ever.
Oh, and hilarious. They're great. They take, kind of like how your Bad Bromance does, they take these songs from the 70s and they play them very close, but it's like modern production. Kind of like how TNT would play AC/DC, but with chunk, not just high gain. A little bit like that.
Beef it up.
So after the Andy Munich stuff and the Cherokee Heights gig, what was your next thing? What happened next?
I don't know. Good question.
Well, I know that's when I met you. It was right around there.
That was Mike Kern and Wayne Ends right there. That was Demonic Conception.
That was a buddy of ours that brought us over to their house. They're Tartan kids. We're Harding kids. Neither the two shall cross, but we ended up meeting them, and you went in with both feet.
It was more like, you do Slayer, we do Slayer. Who cares where you went to school? Let's be buds.
Yeah.
Let's play some Slayer.
Yeah. And that was Demonic Conception.
Oh, yeah. Remember, Learning Black Magic off the Show No Mercy album. Some Mad Butcher off of from Destruction, and then we started writing some crazy metal with Wayne. Wayne started his wacky riffs, Rest in Pieces, and
Mr. Wayne Ends,
yeah.
rhythm guitar extraordinaire. Could be a lead guitar player, doesn't want to be.
The dude responsible for me being able to do anything I can do today is Wayne, because he wrote such hard shit to play.
Yeah, it was all competitive between you two. Like, he'd write something that was tough to play, you'd learn it, and then go, all right, well, now you learn this.
Well, he put me through pain, so let me see if I can come up with something that's going to make you go home and spend 10 hours on a riff, you bastard, right? So it's like, but, without him coming up with this crazy stuff, I wouldn't have been able to, write decent metal tunes and be able to play, legendary metal tunes live by, our idols, Testament and Forbidden and all that fun stuff. That's because of Wayne. I mean, without Wayne, I don't know if I'd have, I was learning Led Zeppelin when I started playing. It's these dudes, they're wired for metal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was cool because, you're kind of rebel when you're a young punk like that,
Yeah. It was an interesting time altogether. And the way I look at it too is like, we had moments where, our parents listened to the Eagles. Mom was big on Carly Simon and the Beatles. And, we're fans of that stuff. But then all of a sudden we start to find something that we want. It's ours. Something we gravitate to. Slayer.
More extreme.
All that stuff there, Celtic Frost. Just Exodus. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. There was stuff that was not really that talented, but just heavy. Like Venom was heavy and fast. Not a lot of talent in Venom, but it was something.
But man, we both got to credit my brother Jeff, because he had a buddy named Vince Myers who had like 5,000 albums in his basement. And he had, have you ever heard Exodus? Check this out. Have you ever heard? He was the reason why metal happened. Yeah. Jeff was like, I'm going to go buy a boom box that plays albums. Vince said to buy this. And the next thing you know, he's got Accept, Balls to the Wall. I mean, he had the Holy Diver album before they toured.
Exodus, Bonded by Blood.
Yep. And, even Motley Crue, the first Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil, was thrash metal back then.
Yeah.
Sin to call him that now. Hate to break it to you, but this is all Vince inspiring Jeff to turn towards this, heavy metal shit. Kill 'Em All album. I mean, that was like when I was 10.
I remember coming over to Jeff's house, which was across the street from my house. You'd be there playing guitar. His entire living room was Andy Mudik's drum set, the stereo, all the albums leaning up against the wall.
Yep, on the floor up against the wall, so you could just go through whatever you wanted. And then your little amp and guitar, and you'd be sitting there playing. But I just remembered being in that room like, wow, look at all this music. And it was incredible. Oh, man, he would just get drunk and throw some Hellhammer on. And he would scream along with Tom Warrior, just drunk. The neighbors think he's strapped to a bondage wheel and getting beaten.
Those who don't know, Celtic Frost, Tom Warrior, his previous band was Hellhammer, and that's really what it was eerie, ghostly sounds and wailing and screaming. There wasn't even lyrics.
No, it was like the original soundtrack to the Saw movie series.
Yeah, and Jeff could reenact that.
Oh, yeah. He did it well. He should have karaoke'd that shit. That'd have been funny. You got some Hellhammer?
Good stuff, man. Oh, my God. I still remember going in there and seeing Celtic Frost to Megatherion.
Oh, yeah.
With the big demon and using Jesus Christ as a slingshot.
The most evil, scary album picture I've ever seen in my life.
What is going on here? This is so crazy. Musically, it was good, but it was just shock rock at its most, basically.
Well, I mean, it's like those albums attracted him. I mean, look at Holy Diver. The priest is chained, thrown in the water. I mean, the more evil the album, this has got to be good. I mean, there's evil in murder.
There's evil in this. There's evil in there.
Well, and forbidden evil. If it just says it, well, it's got to be good. They say evil right on the album cover.
They're called evil. I mean, it's right there. So we're at this point where your Demonic Conception. Now, Demonic Conception ends. Mike Kern kind of is unavailable for a while. So you're looking for something else. Somehow, you guys, you had mentioned that you and Wayne went to a party with probably Jeff and ran into Soup. Give me some of that.
Well, it was it Large Marge?
I remember Large Marge.
Super Dave and Randy Mueller, another two-man band. They were like the cooler version of me and Andy Mudick. Cooler and better version of me and Andy Mudick.
All right.
Well, it's cute you guys are playing Scorpions, but we're going to play some metal. Right? And I remember the song Amarest. Remember the song Amarest?
Yes.
I still know the riff. Man, we went to this damn party. These guys are playing Amarest, song they made. I still remember the riff. I think I've played it with Soup in the last 10 years, just messing around. But they're playing metal. I mean, how cool is that? And then Soup's just killing it on this single kick, double pedal. What kind of sorcery is this?
You're not used to one kick drum.
How is he doing that? That one foot is fast.
Yeah.
Mike Kern had double kicks,
Yeah.
And he's playing some super fast double bass on one kick drum. And I'm like, Wayne, that dude, we got to get that guy to drum for us. That guy. It's Soup. He's always been Soup.
Yeah.
So then, I don't know what happened. Wayne was having a party at his apartment. Somehow, Soup found out, comes to the party. We're talking to him. We set up a jam. I don't even know what we played first jam. I don't even remember the first jam. I think it was at Kelly Barrow's house. Maybe.
Okay.
I don't remember the first jam.
I remember us going over to Soup's house and into his basement and jamming. But I think it was I think it was when we were trying to put Avalanche together is when we were doing that. Or Alliance, maybe.
But I think we were, for songs to play around with, were we not playing some King Diamond early on with Soup? Because he was a big King Diamond guy.
He was a huge King Diamond fan. But you and Wayne and Soup and Jeff connected. Brought me in as the singer at that point.
Yep.
And then
Punishment to Go.
Yeah, I can definitely do Alcatraz in.
Yep. Put a guitar in my hand right now. I'll play that.
I can still remember some of those lyrics. Used to be death, the punishment for death, but now it's just sitting time. You're inside and you wish you'd have died and never committed the crime.
The Alcatraz in.
The Alcatraz in. Oh
yeah.
My God.
But it was cool. Soup, double bass.
Yep.
It's just really cool riffs even back then. When we were punks, I thought it was heavy stuff. It was fun. But Soup was so good. So
that band became Alliance. We were doing tons of basement parties, which is what kids like us did back then. Let me ask you this. Around this time, I know where my local influence came from. Is it the same for you? Did you have anyone else that was huge in your local eyes other than the Regime?
I remember, maybe this was before Alliance, playing a party with State of Mind, the Valley Brothers.
Yes.
Played a party in their basement party. We're on the basement circuit.
I remember that.
The basement circuit.
I remember that.
We went and played with State of Mind.
The Valleys.
And they, right away you walk in, I'm like, these dudes look like Venom, so they're already cooler than us. They look like Venom. And they're good. Two brothers and Sloan, I think, on bass.
Yep.
These dudes had, one of those dudes, we could have cut their hair and put it on our heads, and we would have all had more hair. Just one of those dudes. So they looked cool. They had better gear than us, and they were tight. And it was badass. We got to step up if we're going to, hang out with State of Mind.
State of Mind, though, the Valleys, they had backing. They had people, their mom and dad and the family, they all believed. But the cool thing about both of the Valleys, which I thought, they made a deal. we're going to go to school. We'll do our stuff. You just support
You're
this.
damn right.
And now they're both extremely successful.
Oh, yeah.
And they had their time in their teens and in early 20s, and they're incredible.
That was called proper parenting, man. Yes,
Yeah.
you guys can look like Venom. You can play like Venom. But you're gonna get straight
your
A's.
education.
If you don't get straight A's, that shit's out.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be learning some polka. I don't know what the parenting style was, but how weird was that? It was like the damn Brady Bunch, except metal band.
Metal. They were awesome. Yeah. I still get little posts from Mike all the time and check in with him and Matt as well. Sloan, not so much. I don't know where Sloan is or what he's doing. Hi, Sloan, if you're watching. So State of Mind was like the first local hero, so to speak. We're like, this is the band, I want to be like this band, but I want to even go bigger.
Yeah, I mean, I always want to go bigger, but, you know, they were like polished and very tight at what they were doing. And, you know, I think we played pretty good too. I can't believe their parents let a band called Demonic Conception in their basement.
With that banner.
What kind of con job did you do to your parents? But, you know, I mean, they had like the gear, the look, they were metal.
They were signed.
I was impressed by Mikey singing and playing well. Yeah. And at the time, we're playing kegger parties, trying to sing and play Megadeth and stuff like that. But and they were signed. They had a cool artwork and just the nicest dudes of all time. It's like you want to grow up to be like State of Mind. We're just, how can you not like those guys?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to talk like first kind of influential local band, it'd probably be State of Mind.
Exactly. You know, and then for me it was definitely The Regime.
Oh yeah, that's the next.
That was the next level.
The next level.
And it's kind of what I was trying to get at when I started this podcast of like, you know, you start out and you're into music and music is your thing, and then you become a musician and you start to strive, and you've got these mega heroes like Yngwie and Vivian Campbell and all these guys that have made it. But then all of a sudden you get to the age where you realize there's people in your town that are doing it, just hadn't gotten to the stratosphere yet.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like all of a sudden you recalibrate and go, okay, wait. I can't be Vivian Campbell today, but I can be that dude today. I can get there.
Depends on what dude you're pointing
at.
Yeah,
that's true too.
When you go to the Rock Guitar Center in West St. Paul and Todd Solmonson is your new guitar instructor, and there was no saying I can be that guy. So, I was saying that guy could be any of the guys that I pay a lot of money to go see. What the hell's he doing here?
So let me ask you this too. I was talking to Michael Costello a while ago about this. Some people, when they hit that wall and their hero totally floors them and makes them look stupid, they get on the train and get better because they're going to compete and fight for that spot, or they go, well, maybe that's not what I want to do. I'll go do something like this. Me, I was playing guitar until I met you. And then I put the damn guitar down because you were so much better than me. And anything you were doing, you were showing me stuff that I couldn't even come close to playing at the time. And it was not complex, super complex stuff, but it was hard. So I stopped playing guitar. And then I started singing. I finally found something I could do. When you walk in and see Todd Solmonson play, you didn't think that. You just went to work. Now, was that natural, or did that take time, or what happened there?
He proved that what you're hearing on a record is real and not aliens. Okay. So it's like seeing, like, you know, listening to Holy Diver and Vivian freaking out like he's doing. It's like, how is someone even doing that? Is it even doable? I mean, I was learning like some Jimmy Page and Tony Iommi solos. There's nothing like. I hate. If there's any fans of those dudes out there, I'm sorry, but Vivian's solos are a little harder to play. It's like, here's a dude that's doing it. It's real. It exists. It's achievable by a guy who's right here in West St. Paul.
Yeah.
And he can do that and then some. He could have joined Dio.
Right.
I mean, if he'd auditioned, Dio might have gave him the job.
So did you think that they were playing it at like 1/4 speed and speeding it up to get that effect on a album kind of thing?
No, I mean, when I saw Viv play it on the Holy Diver, I mean, he proved he was really playing it. But it's like, it's almost like, are these guys aliens? They get to tour, they get to do this for, they live off this. And here's Todd at Rock Guitar Center as a teacher. You're not gonna find Vivian Campbell doing that in West St. Paul. So it's like, are these guys? Is this like some elite club that? You have to get some sorcerer to cast a spell on you to.
Right.
So Todd proved that, anything can be done. I mean, you go to the damn guitar lesson and he's showing you the basics and you're like, this is lame, how is this going to help me? He's like, well, when you play it, a couple hundred times in a row, you work on this for 3 hours a day and it turns into fingers on fire.
Yeah, right.
And he would play it slow and just gradually speed it up so you can see what it turns into. It's lame at the low speed, but then he starts, every damn guitar video is the same. He starts slow, repetitive.
Yeah. If you mess it up, start over.
Yeah. So, what I decided to do is if I can't play it 10 times in a row cleanly, I need to slow it down till I can. So some crazy ass, string skipping, picking pattern or something, it would be like at first da 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 da. If I can't do that 10 times in a row, I'm playing it too fast. Because if you're gonna keep stumbling, you're not gonna get the muscle memory. You're not gonna get the synchronization. Painful. It was so hard to. People don't understand that to play like Todd, to play like Yngwie and stuff. I still can't play like him. I can play some cool stuff, but.
Well, you have a job.
Yeah.
You don't wake up in the morning, grab your guitar, and not put it down until you go to bed. You almost need to be that dedicated to get to that level.
Yeah.
But then there's plateaus too. Like for me, especially, there were certain times I was trying to work a riff for a week and I couldn't get the dang thing. And then overnight, I'd wake up the next day and all of a sudden it was there. It's almost like my brain downloaded it and said, this is what you've been doing wrong. Do it this way through osmosis. You now can do it.
That stuff happens to me today. Like I'll be learning something that's unorthodox and I'm stumbling on my hands. And what I'll do is I'll be like, I'm going to put it down and I'm going to go ride my bike around the block or take the dog for a walk. And when I pick it up, the first time I play it's better than the last 30 times I play it. So it's almost like the brain overanalyzes what you should be doing and your hands have a disconnect. And sometimes you got to just not think about it. So what I started doing when I was younger is I would turn on a Viking game or something or whatever sporting game my brother Mike made me watch. And I would play that pattern while I was watching TV, and the TV would distract me from overthinking.
Just enough. Yeah.
And then after, 3-4 hours of the same 4-note thing, all of a sudden it's cool. It's faster, and the big sweep arpeggios is, I had to go painfully slow. But Todd will, prove to you, start slow. He didn't tell me do it if you can't do it 10 times in a row thing. I just decided to do that because, you get a lesson with Todd, you want to go home and be Todd like in 6 minutes. And this sucks,
How many lessons do you take from Todd?
I don't think more than 5 or 6.
Okay, now here's the big question. How many times or how many hours do you think you spent just sitting there watching Todd play?
Stalker level. Because I get done. If he didn't have another lesson, the reason why Todd is because he never stops playing. I mean, I've never stalked him to the point where followed him in the bathroom to see if he's still legatoing while he's aiming. But he doesn't stop playing. So why wouldn't you, if you want to try to be like him one day, why wouldn't you just, he ain't charging you to watch him play. So
Which you probably could have made some money.
So I just hung around, and he's just wailing Van Halen, like, wow. I thought Eddie was like not touchable, and Todd's just talking to you while he's playing some of this stuff. It's like, how can you do that? It's real. It's inspiring.
So we're talking about
hours. I'd sit there hour or two after a lesson.
Todd Salmonson. The world mostly knows him as Todd Duane. He was on Shrapnel Records. Went to a GIT, Guitar Institute of Technology. Amazing guy. He's been in tons of bands. He started out, the very first band he was in, I am told, was The Regime. Then he did a stint with Hurricane Alice. Got him to California. He did a bunch of GIT stuff. I think he went to, I don't know the country, but I believe he went to another country and taught
in Africa.
For a while, in Africa. And then when he came home, he joined Touched for quite a long time. And then, as far as I'm aware now, Todd doesn't play publicly anymore. But Todd Salmonson is still one of the best guitar players I've ever seen.
Man, find a guitar player in town that's if you can find one that says Todd wasn't all that, give me his address. I'm going over to his house. I'm gonna smack him.
Whoa! No assault. No assault.
Nobody. Todd was, in my opinion, like early Regime Todd stuff is still some of the craziest stuff anybody locally has ever done.
Yeah.
Ever.
And not to take anything away from some of the others. I mean, I've been in this journey. I've been listening to a lot of Brian Bart stuff.
Mm-hmm. Those guys
to
are
John
great.
Eller's stuff and Paradox.
Yep.
I heard some Paradox stuff the other day that reminded me of like super early Iron Maiden. I mean, I'm hearing Paul Di'Anno. I'm hearing stuff off Killers on their stuff. So I mean, not to say that these guys are not amazing musicians, but
they're
Todd
great.
Salmonson
They're all great.
Oof.
It's just Todd was like he was our Yngwie. He was our. That's a good comparison. He was our Paul Gilbert.
Yeah, from right here.
From right here
in Minnesota.
And like his solo albums later were just so insane. It didn't make sense. It's like he was like the Meshuggah of lead. It's so crazy. I mean, yep. He's
So a couple of lessons, many hours. Next thing you know, let's get back to like Alliance. I know I leave. I go to Washington for like a year. I don't think Alliance moved on after that.
No.
Okay. And then when I come back, it's like day one when I come back, we're talking about putting a band together. And that band becomes Avalanche.
Yeah.
From my recollection, we put an ad in the City Pages. We come across Mr. Aaron Ryan.
Yep.
Who was at one point in Impaler. And at the time we meet him, he's in Smash Palace playing covers for money.
Yep.
Which, we laughed at him then. But now here we are 30 years later and we've both played covers for money.
Correct. We are all cover band whores. But here's Aaron Ryan from Smash Palace, right? And we're like, Smash Palace, come on, dude. And then he shows up for an audition, and he's like, I can play Rain and Blood. We're like, this dude. Yep, Aaron Ryan, badass.
Yep. So Avalanche happens. It's like 92. We played. We're one of the first metal bands that I know of that started to play weekends as a headliner at Ryan's. I mean, I feel bad because I don't think we ever...
We cheated.
We did. We worked every angle we could to play that club. But we were young kids, and that was the club. There's a lot of stuff Avalanche missed out on because we were so hyper-focused on St. Paul dominance. I mean, there's the Cromlech and Acheron and Power Mad and Kubla Khan and all those other bands that were Minneapolis first. And we were just St. Paul. I feel like we missed out on a lot. But in that time where we were playing those weekends, we actually brought in some of the heaviest stuff that Ryan's had ever seen. And Ryan's turned into like a death metal mecca, as Bill Lindsay calls it, over time. And I like to think that we contributed a little bit to that.
I think so. I'd like to hope so. I mean, it's like, it was so weird too, because we didn't go to Minneapolis to see these Minneapolis bands. They were almost like, it was almost like, Swedish metal is across the ocean.
Yeah.
And we got St. Paul, and we heard about how great they were all over there. And they're all good, I mean, Cromlech is legendary, Coup de Grace, they're all legendary. Eventually, started playing metal massacres with these guys.
Yeah.
So they were all so good too over there. But on the St. Paul side, I mean, we didn't have as many bands as they did over there in Minneapolis. Well, they had 7th Street Entry and all that fun shit. But no offense to the 7th Street Entry venue, but Ryan's was much more cooler.
Ryan's was pretty cool.
Louder PA system, better sound engineers. It felt like a damn Testament show every time you go there.
Every time. You know, and we're 16-year-old kids, 17-year-old kids looking up to this band, The Regime, that basically owned that club. Every time they played that club, it was hundreds of people there on just worshiping that band. So here you go. Like I said earlier, when you want to get to that next level, you first look at this level. And The Regime was that level for me, at least.
Yeah.
So that was the venue. That was where we wanted to play. That's where we ended up playing. And we got into an every 6 to 8 week rotation there. And eventually we started building our own fan base that would come and see us every 8 weeks. And, you know, it was good times.
I got photos at home to prove that we had a couple hundred people coming on a Saturday night to see original. Well, we cheated. It was partially original music and whoring covers.
The first few years was, I'd say from maybe 93 to 96 or 97, was 90 minutes of covers and some originals.
One or two or three.
But when we released our Scratching at the Surface CD in 96, we shifted and we started playing at least an hour of our own stuff.
I don't think we left any of our own stuff out.
Right.
So we would play everything we would write, and then the cover list would shrink.
Yes.
To be replaced by an original song.
So by 99, it was pretty much all original.
Yeah, so
I mean, we'd write musical intros to the set, all of that kind of stuff, just to fill, because we didn't want to do covers anymore. You know.
Well, I did, because they were fun, but it's like, you know, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I don't think we had 90 minutes of original music. I think we always played a good chunk of cover tunes. But it's the cover tunes gave us our Saturday nights. I mean, we're all working. We're not, you know, we all got to work on a Wednesday morning. We can't. Tuesday nights are hard, you know, and it's like to get into the weekends. You know, we cheated. We you know. Let's play some Slayer songs off of Rain and Blood. Let's learn the new Pantera. Let's play Exodus, Testament. Let's play all these bands that everybody will go. We'll pack a Thursday night at First Avenue to go see. Give them a reason to come on the weekend. Oh, check this out. This is one we did. We hope we don't suck.
Well, and if you think about it, like when The Regime hit in the mid 80s, late 80s, they were playing Scorpions. They were playing Raven. They were playing Judas Priest. They were playing the heaviest stuff that they had at the time, and that drew. So when we come in, we're like, well, we're going to do the same model, but the heaviest stuff that we got now is Testament, Exodus, Overkill, Pantera. So we did the same type of model with the modern. We filled that void because there were no other bands doing that. The other bands, the Minneapolis bands, even some of the St. Paul bands, were all original. That's not going to draw a crowd.
But you know what, man? We got to respect them because they're like, screw that. We're going to do our music and we're going to do it our way. And you either like it or you don't. And some of them bands succeeded by, you know, sticking to no. We're not going to whore ourselves out like Avalanche did. We're just we're going to stick to what we're doing. And they, you know, especially the Minneapolis bands, they stuck to their guns and they got a following over there. So I mean, St. Paul, we had to compete with, you know, if you wanted to play in the weekend, what's Regime doing? What's Gemini doing? What's, you know, it's a big room. You got to fill it, you know, or else you're not going to be able to play. So I'm glad we hoard ourselves out because I think, and also learning those other songs helped us get better at what we do. Because if you're only writing your own music and you're not forced to learn other techniques, you know, it helped us get better as musicians, having to learn different stuff. I think.
What was one of your favorite Avalanche shows?
It's got to be Overkill Mirage.
And what do you remember mostly about that besides shitting your pants in front of 1,000 people?
Massive crowd and me chasing Kevin Sprout around the bar, begging him to do front of house sound for us.
Did you convince him to do it?
I did.
I did not even. I was so focused on the crowd, and then I did not remember that.
Yep. I told him I'd give him $50 or something like that, and he's like, "Fine, I'll do it," because I think he was just there to run monitors for Overkill.
Man.
But he's Kevin Sprout.
Yeah.
Like, you go to see Regime, and Kevin Sprout is mixing, they sound as good as a national band. So I'm like, we got all these people. We need Kevin. As soon as I saw him, I was begging. I would have rotated his tires in the Mirage parking lot. I would have done whatever the hell he wanted me to do.
Kevin started out doing front of house for the Regime. That's where we met him. He became a monitor guy, went on the road, did monitors for Stevie Wonder, did monitors for 38 Special, moved into front of house for some of these bands. I even think he did front of house for Metallica, but I'm not sure for a minute. He's still one of the best sound guys I've ever heard. Most cool guy, professional as all hell, and so down to earth. Kevin is amazing. He still lives here. I see a couple posts here and there, but I think he's way above any pay grade that I'll ever be able to afford.
Just the best. So for me, getting to play to Overkill's crowd, knowing that the guy because we've all went to go see bands where the opening band, we've all seen the cartoon of the sound guy and the suck button. There ain't no way Overkill
Kevin's last day.
There's no way that Overkill's sound guy is going to make you sound even close to what he's got in store for Overkill.
Right.
So I'm like, Kevin, please, man. He was telling me no at first.
Yeah.
And he got so sick of me bothering him, he finally said he would do it. And so to get up in front of that crowd knowing that Kevin he's gonna dial it in. He knows the band. He's mixed us a lot of times. It's gonna be pounding.
Yeah.
We had a chance to try to win over the Overkill crowd if the sound guy has us. They probably didn't let him push the amps like they did.
But that leads into my thing too, because my memory from that show, and one of the biggest highlights of my musical career in Avalanche or wherever, is playing one of our songs in front of 1,000 people and looking to my right and seeing every member of Overkill. Like, Canavino and Gant and Tim and Dee Dee are in the side stage dressing room with the door open watching us. And Bobby's on the ramp watching us. Now, thinking about this, part of that reason now is probably because Sprout made us sound so good.
Kevin had us killing it, and the sound. I mean, everything was pound. You could feel it. I mean, Kevin knows what he's doing, man. And it's like, if there was some crappy sound guy up there, it was sounding like shit. I mean, but the crowd was beating each other up to our songs. It's like, they must be feeling Kevin must have us sounding better than we are. I don't know.
No, that was my memory too. That's my show as well. Oddly enough, we played with Overkill one more time, or two more times at Ryan's. One of those times at Ryan's, Rob Carlson was in the crowd as like a 19, 20-year-old kid. And I find out years later that he didn't even know local bands could open for nationals until that day when he saw us at Ryan's doing that. So we didn't do any other nationals, did we? It was Overkill. It was like we just locked into Overkill, and that was it.
Overkill. No, we didn't get the luxury of
3 shows, and that was it. I think the first show, the one at the Mirage, was, I believe, thanks to Mr. Don Decker. He put us and Porcelain God on that one with them. The 2 at Ryan's was thanks to Pat. She really hooked us up there, but it was also because we did very well. I know the first one was because we did very well with Mirage, and they actually remembered who we were. So that was really cool to have Overkill go, oh yeah, they're a good band. They can play. I was like, whoa. So that was pretty cool.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Kevin. So Avalanche goes, that's a huge memory. We went for probably, 8 or 9 years. In '99, we had a little downfall with drummer, And he just the same thing like with Mike, where Mike just disappeared from Demonic Conception for a while. Soup just disappeared for a while. He didn't want to be around it. Needed to be away from it.
Things happen in life,
Yeah.
What do you do? What can you do? But he didn't stop playing, thank God, because
we drug him back, kicking and screaming years later.
Yep, kicking and screaming. We forced him to play at least another 700 shows with us, with TNT and all this other crap, But he had Regime. He didn't quit playing. He was still playing in Regime and pounding that out. Why wouldn't he? I mean, legendary metal.
True.
One of the only guys in town that could actually fill the spot in Regime. So,
tell me about
Soup's legend, man.
Tell me about the day you got the call for the Regime.
Unexpected. We're doing TNT. We're getting ready for the News Fest show with Regime. One of their many reunions. We're up there. Because Soup's playing with us too.
That's true. He was in TNT at the time.
So we were rehearsing upstairs in the Noose, and Regime was upstairs in the Noose rehearsing. So Soup's doing dual rehearsal duties because, he's Super Dave. I mean, he's superhuman. And, I'm super excited because there's room, the big hot rumor was Jay Miller's coming back, and Jay and Vern that was a treat.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what that meant. Like, for a while, Jay stopped playing leads. God damn you. Why? That was bullshit. But then he left, and it was just one guitar with the Regime for a while. And one doesn't... No offense to Vern, but Regime is a two-guitar band. I mean, the sound of it, you go to a Regime show, what's going to happen if you go on the side where there's the guitar missing? I'm used to dodging vomit and beer no matter where you are and hearing guitar from everywhere. But they play, I don't even know how long they played with one guitar. So I was super excited. Jay's going to come back. This is awesome. Jay's going to come back. This is going to be fucking great. It's News Fest. It's outside. Jay, are you kidding me? Man, we loved these guys. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. They weren't able to get a hold of Jay to come to a rehearsal. And they were like super bummed. Regime was super bummed out. Because they were excited about having two guitar.
Yeah.
And I just saw, I'm there. I don't know if we were rehearsing before Regime or after Regime, but Dave would do one.
In a shared space.
It was the same night.
Yeah.
Both bands would. So I'm there, getting ready, tuning my guitar while they're just wrapping up or just got done. And they're talking about Jay. Nobody can get a hold of Jay. What the hell's going on? And Soup's like, well, you could probably play some Regime, couldn't you? And I'm like, I might have learned a couple songs. They're my idols, So, well, how many songs do you think you could learn in like 2 weeks? And I'm like, this isn't like learning Deep Purple. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe 10. So I think we tried playing like Say No More or something. So I think Vern strapped his guitar back on, and I think like some of the easier ones, none of them are really easy, but Ain't So Fucking Bad, I didn't have leads ready for any of this stuff, but Ain't So Fucking Bad, Say No More, I learned Knuckle Sandwich because one doesn't listen to that and not try to learn it because, so we play like 3 or 4 tunes, and I think Vern was like, sweet, play as many as you can, this is great. I'm like, oh shit. So I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to actually play with the legends, not play a whole show, but I get to play with the legends. What the hell? This is like, it was weird. 2 weeks. Now you get to play in front of
the Regime crowd.
The crowd that is expecting Mint playing, and they didn't care. Just
that's
do
why
what you
I gave
could
you
do.
that shirt, man.
Yep.
I created it.
You knew I was freaking out, so I didn't want. Jay hasn't been around in a while. I don't want him thinking I'm Jay because, I'm not going to play like Jay.
Yeah.
So he makes me a shirt that says I'm not Jay, and he's laughing. He's laughing. I'm like, I'm wearing that shit on stage. There's pictures of this.
Yep. There's probably video of it. I found an old video, but the sound is so atrocious. It's one camera, a mile back. You can barely see anything. But yes, it was great. That's how it started. Newsfest,
Yeah.
where you filled in and played leads on a few songs.
Yep.
And then did they ever hire you, or did they just call you for the next gig and ask if you could learn more?
They called me for like it wasn't like an official hiring. It was just like an expectation that I'm gonna keep playing. And I don't even know, like 2 or 3 or 4 reunion shows later, finally, like I think it was Scott Yauk who finally said, "Well, I don't think we've ever really made this official. So I guess you're in." It was a few shows
I wasn't
later.
even asking if you wanted to be in. It's like, I guess you're in.
Well, I mean, okay, at some point when you're playing the whole show,
Yeah, and you're getting paid 1/5 or whatever.
and when you're booking the shows for the band,
Oh, that's right, because you
and
booked Pickle Park,
and
right?
making the posters and calling venues, I turned into like a booking agent for a minute there.
So Yauk finally says, "I guess you're in," and then you're in. Like you say, you're booking the shows already. You're creating the posters, the flyers. Did you have anything to do with the set list, or was that still Vern?
That was pretty much Vern,
Vern.
and it was largely geared towards some tunes are physically harder to play. Put some break tunes in there, and it didn't matter. I didn't care what we wanted to play because I loved all the damn songs. It was cool. They'd bring up some old classics like Interrogation. I'm like, yes, I get to watch Ross play
Yes.
this live. Now I get to do it, you know. So I was like, I wanted to do whatever the hell they wanted to do.
Right.
And then Vern would suggest like Schizophrenia with all the crazy dual leads. It's like, man, you can't do a reunion show and then have like 4 weeks of practice and get that down.
Yeah.
I started working on some of that stuff and I was getting it, but it takes longer than, I mean, those dudes spent years crafting the crazier dual solo stuff. You can't just say, hey, we're playing a show in 2 months. Let's learn Schizophrenia. It doesn't work that way.
Well, part of that stuff too, though, is both Jay and Vern had music theory and knew where this scale should go
Mm-hmm.
and where the next scale should go. Where you
But
actually
Vern-
had to learn the patterns and the notes because you didn't necessarily know where it was supposed
Not
to
at
go.
that level, but Vern had it all tabbed out.
Oh, okay.
So he gave me like a phone book of tablature for some of these leads and
Okay.
just crazy pick pattern, arpeggio patterns that I wasn't used to. I knew some of it, but just it's just so crazy. And I would, okay, we got 8 weeks to get this. And I remember learning all of the parts. I just couldn't get it up to the speed of the song.
Gotcha. And Soup sometimes like to play a little fast.
And sometimes he liked to play a little fast, but I just couldn't get it. It takes more than like 2 months of prep to get it up to speed.
Right.
And you know how the regime works. They play a reunion show, and then Crispy goes back to Seattle for 2 years. So I'm not going to keep working on it because back then you never knew if it was the last regime show.
Right.
So am I going to spend a year getting this up to snuff in case there's another one? No, because we're learning 38 AC/DC songs or whatever the hell else we got going on.
Yep.
So I never was able to get it up to speed, but there was enough other crazy stuff I was able to get up to speed. You know, learning Jay's crazy shit, you know, I mean, there's plenty to do.
Yeah. Tell me what your favorite regime concert was.
Any of them. I mean,
Does any one of them that you played stick out?
that I played?
That you played.
Well, I mean, how do you not like First Avenue main stage with Dare Force and Impaler and man, I'm gonna piss somebody off. Who is the other band? Was that the only? There was 4 bands: Dare Force, Impaler, Regime, and
You got me.
there was 4.
I know the 3. I don't know the 4th. I'm sure Bill can put it in the comments.
That was a while ago, but somebody made us custom donuts, the star-shaped donuts with the band names on them. It was Regime, Impaler, Dare Force, and for the love of God. Was it Soylent Green? Who was it?
It wasn't Soylent Green. I remember that.
Was it a Minneapolis band?
Can't help you.
They can crucify me all they want. But, you know, you get to play the most legendary stage ever. I think we played second to last, Impaler finished it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember getting done with the first, it was packed, get done playing the first song, I think it was Relentless right out the gate, and the crowd roar at First Avenue. When we're young punks going to see Anthrax at First Avenue, Slayer, to be on the stage to get a roar like they got, how do you beat that?
Yeah. The best I got out of that was I got to be next to you helping out. I got to watch that. I got to be 3-4 feet away from you enjoying some of that too. It was amazing. I'm glad I didn't miss that show.
But
ended up being the very last show.
And again, like immense pressure because, well, Dare Force is watching you. Those guys not only are amazing guitar players, one of them recorded the solos that I'm playing.
Well,
so
he wasn't
great.
playing that day, though. That was Kelly and Johnny on that day.
But
he was there.
Brian was there.
Brian was there watching you.
Yep. And I'm like, oh my God, I cannot miss a single note of this shit because Brian could point to the DAT tape timestamp where I missed a note, so I'm trying like hell, and I didn't play it perfect. I fooled him. He said, "Man, I know those solos, man, and you played them pretty damn good." I'm like, yes, I fooled him. I fooled Brian Bart, the dude that probably listened to the track solo on repeat
quite a few times. Yeah.
So I fooled people, man.
So that was your big one, was the first app, and I think that would probably be the one. Can you pinpoint your biggest moment on stage? What band, what show, what moment?
That's tough. I can't just go with like crowd size because I mean that's cheap. I can't call biggest moment TNT at Brainerd International Raceway with like 5,000 people.
Why can't you?
Because it's not original Minnesota music.
But it's about your experience as a musician. If that's something that you will always remember, because I'll tell you honestly, my biggest moment was also a TNT moment. It wasn't Brainerd. It was a halfway jam moment, but it was a TNT moment. So tell me about Brainerd, and I'll tell you.
I think there's two biggest moments. Like original music, it's got to be Overkill, opening for Overkill at Mirage with Kevin Sprout making us a big old swirling pit to shit you wrote.
Yeah.
Non-original music, it's got to be TNT, Brainerd International Raceway. They got the fireworks that are lighting up the whole goddamn sky. There's like easily 4,000 or 5,000 people there. You can hear them chanting along like it's like we're AC. And remember how exciting it was? We thought Brian Johnson was going to come sing with us. Remember that?
Right. We were so pumped. And then he got called back to do Black Ice Tour.
Black Ice Tour. So he was going to be at the races because he's a huge race car driver. So someone, like his agent, got a hold of ARM and said, Brian's going to be out there. Can he sing some songs with you? Can Brian Johnson sing some AC/DC songs with you? What do you think?
Yeah. We were pretty pumped for quite a while on that.
Dude, I was like thinking to myself, oh my God, if I'm playing Thunderstruck in front of 5,000 people and Brian Johnson comes over and puts his arm around me and starts screaming, I was caught! I'm going to wipe out. I'm just going to crash. Are you kidding me? And then he didn't show up.
Yeah.
God damn it.
That was a bummer, but it was still a great show.
Hey, but we had Mike Grable who could scream his ass off, right? So we got to play the show anyways. The crowd lost their mind.
The zoo was something crazy too, because I remember motorized couches, motorized toilets. There was a guy that had a motorized picnic table that he drove in. He drove in and parked it right in front, and then everybody piled on the picnic table to get higher up to watch us. At the end of the show, they had to tow it out because it had broken. The table had broken down on the chassis that he had built or something, and they had to tow it. But you're right. Huge, crazy show. Super memorable.
People just driving around these machines drunk. There's cops there just letting them because it's kind of like a sealed off gated community kind of, who cares?
Well, I remember the security came up and told us, said, listen, do not tell the girls to show their breasts because they will, and they're going to jail. And so I remember calling over Chris Coliani at the time, saying, "Hey," because he was there to take pictures. I'm like, "Hey, come on over here. I got to tell you what he told you." He comes over and goes, "Hey, look what I did." He lifts up his shirts, and written on his chest, "Show me your tits." And I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Keep your shirt on. It was kind of like a crazy, crazy time. I remember that. My biggest one, other than Overkill is by far, guys, number one in my whole career of playing anywhere, everywhere. But number two was a TNT moment too. And it was the first time that we played Halfway Jam. Firehouse headlined. We played at 3:00 in the afternoon on the main stage.
I remember that. My amp blew up.
Your amp blew up. You had to get a new fuse. Then we had to wait like 6-7 hours because we closed the small stage that night.
What was cool, do you remember, like, my amp blew on the main stage, and the dude, one of the, like, who was the big 70s rock band that was there that night?
I thought it was Grand Funk.
Grand Funk Railroad guitar guy loaned me a Marshall.
Was it Bruce Kulick at the time?
I don't know who it was, but he loaned me a Marshall so we could play our set. And when we got done on the main stage, I had just enough time. There was a shop in St. Cloud who was going to open for me, open up, and give me the fuse I needed to use my head on the little stage.
Yep.
It was insane.
Yep. I don't know if it was Bruce Kulick, but Bruce Kulick has been in Grand Funk Railroad for like 20-some years. So it was either right before he joined or it was Bruce Kulick.
Somebody got me a Marshall, and it was badass. It was cool.
So the thing that I remember most was we were on that little stage, and there was a little gathering of people ready for us. And we start playing. And now this little stage has lights that are barely at 7.5 feet up, pointing right at our eyes. And we played, and the main band has ended. Firehouse is done. People are starting to leave, but they have to walk by us to leave. So we're like, hurry to start playing. And we play. And I'm playing bass, started out with Mike singing.
Probably Shoot to Thrill.
I believe it was Shoot to Thrill. We play through that whole song, and the second the song's over and it all goes black, I look down at my tuner to make sure I'm in tune because we were like rushing to get here. And all of a sudden I hear this ovation, like this roar. And it was so loud. And I'm thinking in my head while I'm looking at my tuner, I'm like, that's not a couple hundred people. And I look up, and it literally looks like everybody that was watching Firehouse just turned around and was now watching us.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And it felt like we were playing probably in front of like 5,000-6,000 people.
It was a big crowd, but for me, the Brainerd one was fun because the huge stage, it was just, the crazy shit that's going on too. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of those people didn't, screw it, let's go home. They stuck, most of them stuck around to hear AC/DC the rest of the night. And
so
that was cool.
And the V's, Tommy V and all those guys that promote that show, that Halfway Jam show. After that evening, TNT headlined the small stage for like 5 years straight. They kept calling us back. And I think it was Blimp that was kind of like upset because Blimp, they were like friends of the V's, but they couldn't get the headline slot because TNT had it every year. The second we were done, Blimp was in there. Led Zeppelin tribute right away and never let it go.
It was so fun to look forward to that every year. Maybe that's why the Brainerd one stands out, because we got spoiled by Halfway.
Yeah, Halfway was one of those things. I remember after that first year, because we played the main stage and the little stage, we had all access. But the second year we went back, we were just little stage, and they tried to keep us out of the main area. And I was like, whoa, that's not going to work for us. We need to go back there and get sodas and pops and beers. So we were one of the only little tribute bands that got to go and hang with the big boys after that first year. So I do love the Halfway Jam was always fun, and those were my big moments with TNT. You moved on with Wicked Garden. You formed Wicked Garden when I formed Fool Fighters. You turned Wicked Garden into a major thing with you and Jason Reed from TNT. I went and
It
hooked up
wasn't
with
quite
Dennis.
major with him, but it was on its way.
But it was the
there's some
first
growing
one.
pains.
It was the first '90s alternative tribute thing. Like, and you know what I think is really funny right now is you guys started out tributing 5 Seattle bands, right?
Yep, the big dogs.
The big dogs. And then you evolved into more alternative, more grunge, more everything from '90s. There's a band now called Seattle Rain that is doing the 5 big dogs.
Yep.
So it's like history repeating itself, which is great. You know, I went and did Foo Fighters, which this year we're finally calling it quits after 13 years. June 21st is our very last show with that. Dennis is he's writing so much now. He just wants to focus on that with a little bit of Uncle Chunk. So
that dude's so busy.
He's incredible. So yeah, Foo Fighters is ending now. Wicked Garden, you moved on from that, but you're doing Bad Bromance. Tell me about that.
Something different. There's like 6 or 7 or 8 '90s bands in town. It seems they're all over the place. I think I saw a brand new one, even like this weekend. I'm like, wow, there's another one.
Yeah.
'80s has been done by so many bands. So what are you gonna do? So there was an ad out on Facebook, or somebody posted on Facebook. They're looking for a guitar player to play a new project that takes like female fronted, like diva superstars. It doesn't even matter if it's pop or country or rock or whatever, and they want to put a metal or heavy spin on it. So I'm like, that's strange. So I said, I think I could do something like that. So I met with these guys, Rob, Corey, Derek, at the VFW down in St. Paul Park, and they're spitting out this song, that song, this song, that song. Quite honestly, like 3/4 of the song they spit out, I'm like, I don't like any of this shit. I'm like, really? You want to do Cher? You want to do Believe by Cher? And they're like, but we can do it whatever way we want. You're a metal dude. Do what okay. Let's see if I can make myself like these tunes. So you're listening to tunes that have no guitar in them at all, a lot of them, synthesizer, funk songs. And the goal is to convert them into something that's heavy, hard rock. So it's kind of writing, kind of like cover band plus writing. And I get to do whatever I want. And the heavier I make it, the more they laugh and talk about how great, this is great,
Well, I mean, every one of those songs, even though it might be pop or funk or whatever, you're still looking at, okay, it's a G chord, it's a C chord, it's a D chord. What am I going to play in G, in D, in C?
Correct.
That works. Yep. The vocals are there, the beat's there. We got a song.
Yep. So, I mean, a lot of it is, well, this is real easy. Listen to that bass line. I'm going to chug the shit out of that and play what he's playing. And then some of it like has complex horn arrangements when you're doing, there's so much crazy stuff going on. You're doing a Madonna song that has horns all over the place, like complex stuff. I'm like, I know what key that horn solo's in. I'll play some of it. I'll keep it familiar and then play some of the licks that I've learned, blend in some of the licks I've learned.
Some signature sounds
in the past.
Song,
yep.
Gotcha.
And just, I'm whammy diving stuff. I get to, like some of this, it's kind of a fun challenge because if there's crazy things going on synthesizer, I got my Fractal FM9 unit with billions of effects. I get to be mad scientist and make my guitar sound like a synthesizer if I want, just for authenticity. But the goal is to take songs that rock and metal fans would never care to go see a band to do them authentically because, who's gonna go see the Pretty Reckless cover band or something, and can we make something that's heavy or hard rock, but not so far from the original formula that original fans of the artists aren't turned off or insulted.
They can still see or feel the essence of what that song is, even though it's a rock version.
Yes. So it's kind of like, can you capture two different crowds? Because if we played the songs authentically, we're not getting any rock or heavy metal fans coming to see this stuff. You're going to get the purists. So the purists are going to come out if the names are on the flyer. But if we keep playing it the way we're doing it, it's hopefully gets a reputation for the heavy metal dudes and the guys that don't normally like this stuff. If we can get both crowds to say that was cool,
yeah,
and no one in town is doing this.
No. I mentioned to you before that you had played Route 47. It was one of your first shows with that. And I had a show that night, but it was a private party and I was over by like 10. I raced from Maple Grove over there to see you guys. Only caught like 3 or 4 songs, but I was blown away. It's one of those things like, do you remember when we were young kids seeing Gemini and Brian Ridinger would take Man in the Box by Alice in Chains and put like a Michael Portnoy beat to it. And you would laugh because it's so ironically odd, but it sounded good.
Yes.
That's what I get from what your guys are doing. It's like, I know what song you're doing. It ain't that song, but it's really good. And that's what I'm feeling when I see Bad Bromance.
And that's so like the formula worked on you. So it's like, I remember when you walked in, I think we're playing like Push It and Pump the Jam, right?
Yep.
You'd never in your lifetime thought you'd ever see me on stage playing Pump the Jam and Push It.
Hang on. There was a time when Mr. Walter Borgan told me, I will never use Clean Channel. Do you remember that? I'll never use Clean Channel.
When Clean Channel started paying my card payments?
Now you're creating
very limited.
Patches.
Very limited.
I hear you.
But that's what's cool in this project is there are no slow songs. The goal is hard or metal.
Keep it rocking.
High energy.
Keep it rocking.
These guys don't want to play anything slow. Can we get the dance floor rocking and the headbangers over here headbanging?
Mm-hmm.
What a weird mix.
Yeah.
If there's ever a pit, people are going to be pissed off. But yeah, I mean, I got buddies of mine who've seen a lot of these damn projects coming out to the show, laughing. And we're playing a Madonna song that's just chug. Just the nastiest metal tone I can conjure. And it still sounds like Madonna, but it sounds like Anthrax is playing Madonna. That's, so when you got the headbangers over here, dude, he's headbanging to Madonna. Look at that shit. Yeah. And then the Madonna, there's a 40-pack of girls over there singing the lyrics. We're winning.
Yeah.
We're still whoring, but it's just
Do you have any date on the books right now?
We got like 4.
Really?
We're playing 3 times in August and 1 time in June. June's at Serums. I think we're playing Main Street. In August. We're playing, I don't know the exact dates. It's like the 1st and the 2nd. I think we're playing Serums again on the 1st and 2nd. 1st of August. The 2nd, we're playing Main Street Bar and Grill, and like another, I think Route 47. We're coming back to there later in the month. So wherever we've played, they've wanted us back. So the experiment seems to be working so far. I'm unavailable to play New Year's Eve, but Serums was talking about bringing us back for New Year's Eve for a new band. That's shocking.
That's pretty huge.
But I'm not available. I'll be swimming in an ocean that night or getting back from a trip, but. So, I mean, wherever we've played, people like it. So to me, it's fun because I get to kind of create. Whereas, you play in Hollywood Boulevard. I mean, your typical cover band, try to learn what's on the record, right?
Yeah.
Whereas here, I get to pop in a song. I'm putting in some damn Miley Cyrus, and there's synthesizers that are bending around, and I'm like, am I going to use my whammy pedal or am I going to dive bomb? And just nasty chords.
So you're doing Wrecking Ball?
No. We're playing Party in the USA, man.
Okay. All right. But how about you came in like a wrecking ball?
It's too slow.
Okay.
We don't want people going to sleep. We want dance floor.
I just figured you could punch the heck out of that wrecking ball part.
Yeah, we're playing some just teeny hit crap. And, it's so fun. There's young people there. Oh, my God, look at these old fuckers playing this song. Oh, my God, what are they doing to our song? We don't care because it sounds like our song,
It's like you and your other 3 band members are in on the joke, and whoever comes along for the ride is there, too.
So, yeah, it's different. I want to do something different. I played 12 years AC/DC songs, 13 years learning 85 grunge alternative songs. Learned almost all the Regime songs. Well, most of the Regime tunes. Avalanche did billions of covers. Metallica tribute. Let's not forget we did that.
Trapped Under Ice. That's how we paid for our recording of our second album that was never released.
Cover music was income.
Yeah.
Whoring it. We were whoring it. Shame on us. But
speaking of that, lastly, Maiden Minneapolis.
Maiden Minneapolis. So
you joined that last year.
So last year, Jimmy moves on. I think Sam moved on at the same time to do their Metallica thing. And I never even met Jimmy, I don't think. But, you know, it's no secret. He's a good player. There's videos, right?
He's a great player. Great guy, too.
So right away, I'm like, well, I seen an ad for Maiden Minneapolis. And so I'm researching videos. You see Jimmy playing Iron Maiden songs. You know, it's like, sweet, that's kind of cool. I've always liked Iron Maiden. I think we played Trooper for a while there, back in the day, Death Trooper.
There's actually a death version of it on Scratch Against the Surface.
Hidden track 28 for the kids that have the disc. Go to track 28. But so I'm like, okay, well, shit, let me see if I can play. And then credit to Joe Spanbauer, he told the Maiden Minneapolis guys, he heard that I was going to go audition, and Joe is like one of the greatest dudes on earth. He told them, well, he's going to win. You know, he told them, well, you found your guy. So I'm like, thanks, Joe. Thanks for the confidence. But so I learned like 5 of the tunes. I learned them in like 2 weeks, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't remember how many solos they do.
Or which ones are yours?
Yeah. So they told me to just learn, you know, these 5 songs. And well, actually, I think they started texting me, do the second solo, do this one, do that one.
Okay, so they were telling you, do Adrian's solo,
do
Murray's solo.
Yeah, so it's like, man, I have so much more respect for Adrian Smith, because I've never really learned any of his stuff, but he is such a good, his, like, the scale choice, the technique, man, that dude, he deserves all the Guitar Player magazines he's been on, deserved. These dudes were some of the best guitar players back in the day. And then Dave Murray with his trilling. You know, he's very big trilling, just with all fret action. And
so are you doing like 80% of those leads then?
I'm doing a majority of the Adrian Smith stuff.
Gotcha.
And some of the Dave Murray stuff. So I'm pretty much playing a lead on every. So they got like 18 songs that they just keep. That's just what they do.
It's in rotation. Got the big hits, and that's what we're doing.
So yeah, it was to learn all those, and then as I was learning them, because of the crazy scale patterns and everything, I'm like, there's got to be a book out there, and I found an Iron Maiden tablature book. It's about this thick,
like the encyclopedia of Maiden.
Their whole set was in there except for Revelations. I'm like, oh, wow. Give it to me.
But hang on though, was it like Wolf Marshall's version of Adrian Smith, and it wasn't right? Or were they right?
It was mostly right.
Okay.
So it helped me learn. Like, I learned the rest. I did one audition, and I learned the rest of the entire set in a month.
Okay.
So I learned 16 songs in a month. While I'm recreating these pop songs, there's a lot of guitaring going on for a month. I'm like, what the hell did I get myself into? But the book sped things up. If something was a little hazy, what does the book say? That makes sense. But if you want to learn Iron Maiden tunes, people, there's a dude on YouTube. He has videos called Riffs of the Beast. It's called Riffs of the Beast. This dude, I don't know what country he's from, but he plays it perfect. Like, and he'll show you what he's doing.
Yeah. The
solo. Here's the solo to 2 minutes to midnight. And the dude could join Iron. He's better than the Iron Maiden guitar players at playing it.
Ooh, that's
so, Riffs of the Beast would have saved me so much time.
So my last question for you. You have played thrash metal. You've played heavy metal. You've played grunge. You've played pop. You've played Maiden-esque stuff. You've played so many different styles of lead and riff, and what do you think is the most challenging that you've tried to do all this time? Because a lot of people, the They come out and they're blues, and they're a blues player, and that's what they are for life. They come out and they're a metal guy, Judas Priest style, and that's what they are for life. You have like flowed, and I'll take on that challenge. I'll take on that challenge. I'll take on that. What do you think was the biggest challenge for you, and or what was the most rewarding even?
Regime.
Really?
Yeah.
So, and that's coming from, I mean, you were playing like thrash metal, like speed metal. You're doing like Megadeth leads and Overkill leads and all that, and then shifting.
Well, I say regime because of the pressure, because
Yeah.
they have a elite expectation of live performance.
And style wise, they were
Yep.
more classical.
Yep, they are your Ingve style, you know, harmonized type stuff, and Todd's stuff's just so insane. But everybody knows when you go to a regime show, the guitar players play. The expectation is flawless. I
Mhm.
mean, if you're not playing 99% accurate, then you're disappointing the regime fans. So I used to be the fan that used to go there and just look at these dudes, you know, chamber, and I just get to sit back and wait for the jokes and the beer to fly, and then watch these crazy solos. And now I got to go up there, and it was like so much pressure. That's what made it so damn hard, is because I'm like, you're watching me, you yourself, you bastard. You know the solos. You've heard them more than I have. You're standing right next to me. My amp is right in your left
We
ear,
grew up on it together, man.
right? So I know you're watching. It's just like Wedding Crashers, watching, judging. I don't know the movie. No, that's old school. I'm like,
Old school, yeah.
He's got scorecards.
Look at the wife watching,
Yeah.
judging. watching.
He's got scorecards he's putting up behind me, 7 on that J solo, right?
Or you'd hit a note and you'd look over and I go, I heard that one.
But most of it was good,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You know, and I'll wrap up. We'll wrap up here, but the thing that I loved about the regime, and I just want to end on that. You're absolutely right. The leads were great. They were harmonized. They were articulate. They were perfect.
Well planned.
The thing that I think the world never got to experience, you had bands like Cacophony. You had bands like Racer X, right? These had that dual guitar amazement. I mean, you're talking Marty Friedman, Jason
Insane,
Becker,
yep.
Paul Gilbert, Bruce Boulez. Phenomenal dual guitar players. You know what they didn't have?
They didn't have
Riffs.
the riffs, man.
We both knew that.
That's
Riffs. Right. Regime had riffs. I mean, it was still, if it wasn't lead, with Scott's vocal over that riff, it was still a metal tune that was catchy, hooky, and it was awesome.
They had tunes that could hang with the best metal bands in the history of the local scene.
In the history of anywhere, honestly.
On a technical level.
Honestly.
I mean, Regime had some stuff that was, you know, not too insanely hard to learn how to play. But when they decided that they were going to lay down the damn beef, you know, when you're talking Stand and Die and you're talking like dead serious, like the title track of their first one.
Yeah.
That shit's hard, man.
Yeah.
And to have to play that stuff, having learned it and boot camped it and playing it live well enough to where Vern is happy with this, you know, they're thrilled that there's another guitar player thickening that shit back up again. That's got to be my most rewarding thing, because, you know, when you go from a fan of them to now I got to play this shit and talk about stress.
Yeah.
I'm up there freaking out because I know all the Regime heads are watching and judging. I'm trying to play this shit, and I got Crispy walking over, and he's playing crazy shit on the bass, and he's yelling shit in my ear, distracting me. Hey man, did you see that fucker in front of Scott? He's just cracking. He just starts talking about shit.
And you're trying to focus on your
He's
rest.
talking about this. Is you hearing something weird in your monitor? I'm like, no. I'm like, I want to yell, leave me alone. I'm trying to get through this song. Talk to me in between songs late.
Rest in peace.
Yeah,
Love you,
but
man.
the dude
Love
is
you,
so
man.
fun. I mean, to spend time with him on that level, you know,
Yeah.
it's crazy to sit down and have dinner with Crispy at First Avenue. We're about to play the main stage, you know, or, you know, you're just talking to this guy, and it's like, you know, now I'm playing with him, and he's not going to just let me be. He's going to, and he cranks his fucking bass rig to where your heartbeat is skipping. So I have to crank my stuff, and it's just, the expectation level is just insane. It's weird. Like, when you're playing, like, stuff that you idolize, you'll be, like, mid-song, or, like, a part that's a little easier, and then I'll look away because I'm no longer afraid of screwing up. Like, a chorus riff that's not too tough, you know. And I'll look up and look across the stage, and I'm seeing Crispy, Scott, Fern, Soup. What the hell am I doing up here, you know?
Oh my God!
How did I get to do this? Super fun,
dude. You earned your place without a doubt. So with that, thank you for coming out and chatting with me, Walter.
It's fun. We could do 6 more days of this.
Oh my God! Realistically, we touched on I think everything, but we basically skimmed on everything.
We could tell stories. There's so much. There's just, you know, nobody's known me longer musically other than my brother Jeff than you. I mean,
yeah, there you go.
So,
we didn't really even talk about how we met, but that's another tale for another day. Walter Borgan, thank you so much, sir.
Yep, cool.
All right.